what I mean?
Hello and welcome on to this Friday's edition of Entertainment News here at Movie Burner Entertainment. I'm one of your co-hosts, Stephen John McLaughlin, our co-host, John C. Walsh. We'd just like to thank you once again for joining us here on our YouTube channel, our Twitch stream, and of course our Spotify podcast. Yes. We've got 3 topics, as always, and we are going to be starting the show talking about an old friend of ours that we've not really talked about this year, John.
Our friend is gone.
Joseph. His name's Joe.
Just call me Joe.
Yeah,
Just
Vijay,
call me
John.
Dave.
Leo, this is one that we have been talking about, John. We've reacted to some of the trailers, etc., and covered it in some of our news as well. But I think just over the last few months, I think it's fair to say that we've been kind of in Shah Rukh Khan territory.
Yes.
And watch-alongs. So I feel a little bit neglectful towards Telepathy Vijay. Not that he minds. Doesn't know us, so he doesn't care. I'm sure other people are talking about him. But
that's not the right Leo.
That's Adam Sandler's Leo.
2023 as well.
Yeah. What's that all about? It's funny, John. I think there was another film out. What was Telepathy Vijay's last film?
It wasn't Beast. It was Pharisees.
It might have been Beast I was thinking about. There's actually another Beast film out at the same time as
I'm going to search Joseph Vijay up just now and find that out. Was it Pharisees?
Leo is it Lokesh? Pharisees. It's Lokesh, isn't it?
Lokesh kind of garage. It's doing it, yeah.
John, we'll just get right into it. This is coming in from
what a cast.
The Times.
Jesus.
What a cast.
What a video.
Telepathy Vijay's Leo creates a record in UK pre-sales, John. That surprised me. Because we don't normally
I'm dubious of the numbers, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, we don't normally get that kind of news coming from the UK. India, yes, not the UK, but that's good. It's good. I like this.
We have got a massive Indian community.
Yeah, but
in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland.
How long have we been covering Indian cinema on our channel, John? And
about 3 years.
Never really read anything like this before, not to these levels anyway. Vijay starrer Leo is one of the most hyped films, and the film is set to be released on October 19th. All eyes are on the highly anticipated film, and it's going to be the next biggest release in Tamil. As per the latest update, Leo has grossed 100k, that's in pounds, in the first 24 hours.
I was going to put pounds on the thumbnail, but then I realised I had to put Her Majesty on the thumbnail, and I just couldn't stick it.
Expectations for Leo are high. The film's UK distributor has opened the bookings for the Vijay starrer in the region well ahead of schedule, and the film's booking began on September 7th. On the first day of booking, 10,000 plus tickets sold for Leo in the first 24 hours, and the film has become the fastest Tamil film to achieve the mark. This is coming in from Ishma Entertainment, John, their X account. I'm not going to say formerly. You know what? It's X now. Let's just go on with it. Elon.
X, formerly Twitter.
Yeah. So this is
there's my napper in that chat. It's fucking Twitter, and it will always be Twitter.
People just move on very quickly.
Yeah. X, formerly Twitter.
Over a decade. But we don't call it that now. John, we set the stage, but you stole the show. Over 10k tickets sold in UK in under 24 hours, crossing 100k in sales, feeling the mass.
Love it. I've said it before. I love the fact that they use the word mass to describe highly popular genres, films, music videos, actors, directors. Mass star Telepathy Vijay, mass star Shah Rukh Khan, mass film Leo. Mass song, I don't know.
John, we know that there is a large Indian community in the UK. There's a large Indian community in Scotland.
There is.
But
I am enormously grateful for that large Indian community in Scotland.
I've never seen this, this kind of news coming from the UK before, for any film. For any Indian film.
But Steve, again, I think it just shows you, we spoke about Shah Rukh Khan last week and the gravitas that he possesses, the sort of influence he has on box office. Telepathy Vijay in the south of India is every bit as big as Shah Rukh Khan in the north. Obviously, Shah Rukh's a more global name. We weren't aware of Telepathy Vijay as much before we started taking a dive into South Indian cinema with Falsely Roof back in the day.
Well, John, to be fair,
we were more aware of Shah Rukh Khan.
We were aware of Telepathy Vijay before we even did what we were doing with Roof as well. We
we
did
did
review
films,
quite a few films,
I
but
think it was Master.
it was mostly sort of surface level, wasn't it? More
Yeah.
sort of popular ones, as you said. Master, it was out at the time, and we kind of went down a rabbit hole. But Roof took us down a deeper sort of journey, and we kind of learned, where he started and where his change in direction came, and then obviously where it led to.
And he's obviously a brilliant guy. So couldn't wish it on a better person, really. He's a brilliant individual, politically active.
This is a chocolatier one, isn't it?
Chocolatier.
Yeah.
Well, there's chocolate elements, Stephen, but then he's also got swords, and I think he's clutching a hammer in one poster, ready to assault people.
You think he's like that sort of undercover Obi-Wan, the fish factory in the desert?
I would love that, yeah. I mean, they come to the actual
He's a
chocolate place,
chocolatier, but
don't
he's
they?
not really.
Chocolate place, what do you call a factory? I don't know. They come to his place while he's obviously making chocolate.
Yeah, I wonder if he's got a great glass elevator. Yeah.
I don't know. Perhaps he has, from which he can throw various sort of weapons at the pursuers, at the
Leo Wonka.
intruders, if you like. The intrudents, I was going to say, but that's not a word. Intruders.
Intruder alert.
Oh God, don't bring back bad memories. Is that Phantom Menace?
I think so.
Oh God, terrible. Oh, but Stephen, look, as I said, Shah Rukh Khan's getting an enormous sway box office wise, but look, we sometimes underestimate Telepathy Vijay's ability to also bring in these kind of numbers. And to be fair to him, man, Joanne's not done those numbers pre-sales in the United Kingdom, as far as I'm aware. And obviously, prior to that, Patan, it's actually a Telepathy Vijay film in Leo, which is pushing these numbers. And Stephen, I just feel like this is, again, emblematic of the, if that's even the right word, the continued growth of Lokesh Kanagaraj as a director as well. He's now done multiple movies. People respect his work.
Yeah.
They realise he is a supremely talented director who has a brilliant relationship with Telepathy. He's worked with him on Master.
Anirudh
Ravichandra. These sort of figures, younger guys in the industry in the south of India, are producing excellence upon excellence upon excellence. Word of mouth, also the just general knowledge of these individuals, along with your starman Telepathy Vijay, who's established. That's what promotes these kind of numbers. People become aware of them. They grow as filmmakers, as sort of composers, and then they become box office gold every bit as much as Telepathy is the leading man. But Stephen, I looked at the cast. I says the cast is incredible. You look at the cast, this isn't just, I mean, again, we've got this sort of even more veteran figure in Sanjay Dutt in there. Trisha Krishnan, who we both love as an actor, absolutely outstanding. She's one of the best actresses from the subcontinent.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie and sit here and say I know every single name in there, but certainly those three at the top are, I mean, that's a sign that you're doing things right.
You see probably some faces in there that we probably
well,
do
I did. I
recognise.
seen Mansoor Ali Khan, and he rang a bell, and I'm not entirely sure why. And I'm going to click on him and find out precisely why he rang a bell. Have I seen him in a film, or am I just havering, as we like to say here, in Scotland? In Scotland.
Yeah.
Well, I don't recognise any of those films, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I've not seen them. Her knowledge goes back.
You're going back
further back. Yeah. We went back to 1993, Stephen.
No chance.
No, but he did. He rang a bell. Clearly,
Denzel Smith as well looks familiar.
Denzel Smith.
John, I just think we've probably seen these guys in different films and just probably stayed in our minds, and we don't really know who they are. But yeah, I mean,
what's your big man called? It's in all the Telepathy movies. Babu
Yogi
Babu.
Yeah.
Where is he?
Yeah,
Joseph, you're slipping here, my
what's
friend.
this? Are you too big now?
You have to be like I think it's called not the Rat Pack, the Frat Pack, the Adam Sandler crew.
Yeah,
where you've got your familiar faces coming into movies. You can do it.
Yeah,
a little guy from Grown Ups. It was in the Chris Farley movie.
Yeah,
forget his name. Blonde-haired geezer. He's little. He's only 5'5" or something.
Yeah,
he's just a little guy.
Yeah, little guy. And a big coat.
Joseph needs to be thrown a bone to the likes of Yogi Babu. He's a brilliant guy. He's very charismatic, and as a side figure, he doesn't have to overimpose himself in the movie. He can just be in there for 5 minutes and he'll leave an impact.
Anna Cash App. John's face looks familiar to me as well, but
I mean, she rings a bell as well, I want to say, but I'm not going to click on all of these names. Needless to say, the cast is there. It's more your leading man, Sanjay Dutt, Trisha Krishnan, And then you pair that with Flowcase Kind of Garage, you pair that with an Annie Rudd musical, because that's what they essentially call
Dream
this
team,
guy now.
Yep.
And you've got a trio at least there that are just gold, and then you've got a veteran head, and you've got a hugely sort of respected female actress, whatever you want to use, in Trisha Krishnan. So it's not hard to understand why it's posting these huge sort of record-breaking pre-sales in the United Kingdom. But I'd love to know what the figures are in the likes of India, Singapore, places like that, which are traditional, I mean, not powerhouses, but there's a name for it, sort of traditional, I can't think of the term off the top of my head, traditional sort of countries, areas that go out and heavily support Indian cinema, and indeed Joseph Vijay cinema. We've seen this, Stephen, we spoke about it.
Yeah.
France, Japan, guys get a following everywhere. And now here in Glasgow, with us two Casper the Ghost motherfuckers, he's Mother Chods, he's got a following as well. Not a surprise for me. We've seen this before. We've seen box office. We did box office chat. We broke it down for many years. Fucking Indian movies breaking into the top 10
it's
on the
funny,
regular.
John, you look back and maybe, you know, in those episodes we were talking about Telepathy VJ films and we just didn't know it.
I don't think so. I think one was Fanny Cash, infamously. Fanny Can, I think Cash maybe a fucking actual person. Fanny Can or something. And I remember in my ignorance, and I'll openly admit, my ignorance, I'm like, what the hell's this? Fanny Can. I didn't even realise it was a film or anything. I was just chatting shit like I did back then about a great many things.
In the bargain basement.
Yes, in the bargain basement bin. I think I said something like that. Yeah, I've spelt it wrong. I spelt it like the profanity we use over here.
Oh, the name. Yeah, it is an actual name.
It's an actual name, Yeah, it is a name, yeah. Sanil Kapoor. He's played Fanny Can.
Yeah.
It's not hugely rated, so I think I was right in the end.
Average,
In the end, I was actually correct,
musical
to be
comedy,
fair. But there's not been a huge, off the top of my head, sort of ones that stand out that could have been Telepathy VJ movies, but we certainly did cover box office for a good number of years. Separate shows, sections in one movie news show back in the day, and we did used to know there was a lot of indie movies.
John, I don't
the
remember the UK responding to the likes of Master with these sort of pre-sales.
No, it's strange,
you know?
And that's why I did say I was slightly dubious of the numbers.
Yeah,
because it's 6
bizarre,
weeks or something out.
I mean,
not quite.
Maybe we just weren't looking in the right places. We were covering indie news at the time, so I don't know why we would have missed that.
Say it's record breaking, so that means it records record UK pre-sales or creates record.
I think the promotion, John, has been really a big part of it as well. It has been. I think it's been well balanced. I want to say. I don't want to say it's been very under the radar. It's certainly not, because we've seen the trailer.
Quite a bit back as well.
You think of motion posters and stuff like that, and then obviously these events that they put on and stuff like that. But I just think, you know, when what was the one we didn't watch? The mall one that was set in the mall.
Beast.
Over promoted, I think. And I'm not really sure why. It's just
that movie was doomed to fail. Despite Telepathy VJ, Stephen, I don't think there was enough overall star power. I think the villain was played by some Telugu actor, I want to say. And it was the director's first big real gig as a movie director. And Telepathy did this previously. Worked with up and coming sort of new directors. So you were really relying heavily on the script being there, and Telepathy working his magic and levelling up the other people around about him, which we've seen him do before in other movies. We've seen him in Sarkar, a movie I didn't really enjoy that much, but it wasn't for a lack of ability from Telepathy. He just didn't have enough talent around about him to help him.
I think we talked about this last week, John. Yeah, I think in terms of was that the one that genre? Was it genre jumping? Was it that one?
It was the political one where it was political corruption. He was a CEO that came back to vote. I think he couldn't get his vote cast.
That's right,
And he then proceeded to try and bring down the whole political system and ran as a candidate or something. And he also was doing the junket, or you call it a junket? I think you do call it a sort of political junket. And it was just meh. It turned into, it was kind of genre jumping because it became violent. And he was meant to be this sort of CEO with bodyguards. Then he was taking down 6, 7, 8, 9 people.
Didn't need a bodyguard,
Didn't make much fucking sense to me. I mean, you've established he requires bodyguards. Then he becomes like the second coming of fucking Zeus. It doesn't make much sense. So there was a lot of inconsistencies in that movie, but Stephen, I think that's what the case was with Beast. We've seen it in Master. Vijay Sethupathi had talent to bounce off of, and that helps you enormously when you're not having to do everything on your own.
I think that's why I'm looking forward to this one. Sanjay Dutt is in there. I don't know if he is playing the villain or not. I'm just assuming he is. Whether he's a mentor to Leo, I don't really know, because there is that fourth guy, the fourth sort of build guy. We just mentioned him there.
Yeah, Anurag
Kashyap. Perhaps maybe he's a villain. I'm not really sure. But you're absolutely right. I think sometimes
he was a producer.
He was Gangs of Wasseypur. Wow. I just think in terms
he's not an actor.
He's not an actor. So he's an actor in this.
Is he an actor in this?
That's the cast. That's the cast. That's not the crew. That's the cast.
That's the second one I've clicked on though, because I clicked on Mansoor Ali Khan and it came up with producing credits and not any acting.
Yeah,
he's an actor.
Sometimes they do sort of double duty, don't they?
He didn't have any acting credits, so Anurag.
Maybe this is
he's just coming in as a cameo.
It could be, yeah.
I don't know.
Look at Taika Waititi, you know.
Or your man,
he's
James Gunn's brother.
Yeah.
The other one.
Yeah. What's his name again?
Is it the same one that was in Guardians?
Paul Gunn? I can't remember.
Guardians one's a decent actor though. He's actually an alright actor.
Good character as well. But my point is, John, Sanjay Dutt coming in, I think you're absolutely right. I think that's what worked with Master. As much as we love Talapi Vijay and his work, and I think the film would have been pretty decent anyway, I think just having someone playing opposite that he can bounce off just takes it to another level. I thought Master, for that time, 2 years ago was it came out?
Yeah, maybe even further back.
Probably, for me anyway, one of the biggest films of the year for me.
For me, it's one of my favourite Telepathy films to date. I just think it was ballsy from Lokesh to dedicate the first 15 minutes to this sort of... He's a villain, but he's also complex, fully formed. Because he grows up in this juvenile sort of facility. And you see him making the rise to where he is. He's obviously got a viciousness and he likes to punch people.
I think that's probably one of the things about Triple R. Although you're Ray Stevenson, I think his name was, the late Ray Stevenson, was in it. It's nothing to do with him. It's just obviously the writing for the character. I know that film wasn't about a villain anyway, but it had to have the villain in there. It was just a two-dimensional character. But in terms of Master, you had the complexities of the Vijay Sethupathi character and his upbringing and his perspective. You can understand, although you don't agree with his actions and his behaviour, you can understand what led him to that point because, as you said, they gave the character time. They gave us time with the character as well to understand his motives, to understand his perspectives. Yeah, he's wrong. Yeah, the way he's behaving and the way he's acting is wrong.
You're shaped by society ultimately. He was let down.
I think that was.
And then Telepathy's JD character goes into that same place trying to clean it up.
Yeah.
We've seen he was a hugely influential, charismatic teacher, and he's then tasked with trying to shape the lives of these people in that juvenile centre, present day, and stop them becoming another Bhavani.
Yeah.
So it was really well wrote, the story. You see what happens if you let these kids down and they're allowed to fester and go out into the world. Enormous evil can happen.
It still was a good versus evil story. It was all the sort of grey areas in between that.
Just remember that ending though, Stephen.
Yeah.
When he's got the bangle sort of bracelet and he's dancing and then he just bangs him with it.
Yeah.
I think he punches him. I think he actually changes it to the knuckles and punches him right in the hand.
It's funny, John.
It's great.
You talk about Vijay Sethupathi as well in that role. I think that was our first film we saw him in. The next film we saw him in was Super Deluxe or 96. I'm not sure what one came first, John, but totally different roles. That's the point I'm making. And for anyone to accuse him to be samey is absolutely crazy.
It's always blown my mind that.
And then we saw him in Peta with Rajinikanth. And again,
and we've seen him in Vikram Vedha.
Yeah.
But he was kind of playing a similar character, to be fair, the sort of...
Yeah, I mean, it was similar in that sort of
morally ambiguous.
Yeah, the grey areas of society and sort of weaving in between the sort of law and out with the law kind of thing. It was, I liked it.
Point is though, Stephen, you're right. I mean, they've done a great job of balancing the acting pool in here.
John, let's be honest here, and I think both of us agree, KGF Chapter 2 wasn't that interesting until he came in.
Yeah.
And nothing against Yash. Yash is fantastic. He can carry that whole film.
I think that was deliberate though, Stephen. Yash was full of hubris and he was sat in that throne and he had no real threat.
I just felt it was a bit unlikable as well. I thought, this isn't the same guy I remember.
It
wasn't hunger or a goal for him at this point, you know.
Yeah.
It wasn't until obviously Sanjay Dutt character.
Oh, was that a film? I think that's a film.
I think that was his name. I think it was.
I mean, he came over the bridge, obviously, and said it in the
I just thought, things are heating up now. It goes back to what we're talking about. It's having that opposite of the main sort of star, the sort of good versus evil. It just cranks it up, and it makes you pay attention more. And from that moment on, I really enjoyed KGF Chapter 2.
And in terms of the audience going to actually want to, also obviously paying for a ticket and actually want to go out and watch the movie in advance, having guys like Sanjay in the cast, Trisha Krishnan in the cast, Joseph Vijay with that talent behind the camera, that's what drives these kind of numbers, Stephen. 10,000 pre-sales, £100,000. I think it's a record breaking in the sense that it's never really been done before. It does state in this article at the top, it's the first Indian film to have bookings open in the UK before 6 weeks of its theatrical.
Well, that could be
it's
the
the
reason,
first film.
the opportunity to actually.
And again, I just feel that this is a knock-on effect of Triple R, Stephen. I really do think
I think they've got the confidence to do that.
Yeah, it's
now,
opened doors up now. That there is an interest, there's a hunger to watch movies from the subcontinent in the Western sphere. And I says it at the time when that movie was getting the buzz it was getting. People were watching it, reviewing it, loving it. It got the Oscar, obviously, for Natu Natu.
Yeah.
I says it'd be a game changer for Indian cinema in the West. And we did prefix it by saying that, look, it doesn't need to be.
No.
They don't need the Western sort of countries' love or sort of, I don't know, appreciation of their cinema. They have been doing their thing for decades and decades and decades. Validation. And they've been doing it well. And they've got multiple industries churning out brilliant content. They don't need fucking people from Britain, America, France, wherever, saying, oh, he's doing a brilliant job,
Well
they
done.
don't require
You
it.
finally got there.
But it does help them have a global audience that perhaps they didn't have. It's certainly these more regional movies. Bollywood has always had a global audience, has always been that access to that. But the southern sort of states, we spoke to Ruth many times about this, it's been more regional, it's been more catered to the local people, and maybe these surrounding countries like Singapore, Indonesia, and things like that. Whereas now it's telepathy, and you see the quality going up, the budget's going up. It's now becoming more global.
I think it's the fact that the actor is sort of crossing those barriers as well within his own country, and it really is quite an eye opener for people from this side of the world not understanding, the sort of politics in Indian cinema and the regions against each other. You can imagine the force of that country coming together.
I mean, they've just sent a fucking rocket to the moon.
Yeah, but
so it shows you what happens.
From a film perspective, though, John, when you've got the likes of Triple R going out there, and the country coming together for such a big film, in terms of belief in it, and putting it out there, and that, I mean, it is all down to SS Rajamouli. He put it together, and it's going to be very interesting to see where he goes with, obviously, a Western film, which he's going to be doing soon. And what's the subject? Is he going to bring over his own team? He talked about, obviously,
should be bringing actors like
the Brat Pack or the Frat Pack or whatever you call them. Will he do the same? I
just want to see guys like NTR Jr. and Ram Charan, guys like that coming over and doing big Western movies.
Yeah, I don't want them to do a grey man in Danish, though. I fucking hate when that happens, when Western studios do that. They pick someone from Asia, or they always have to play the sort of henchman or the 2D villain, and I hate that. There's more to these actors than that. They're better than that. Danish is certainly better than that.
Oh yes,
and we had those reservations going into promoting, not us promoting, but us talking about the promotion of Grey Man. That was one of the fears. Is Danish just going to be one of these cut out sort of villains, from foreign lands? Because it's an ignorant way to sort of get Indian actors on board in a Western film. But if you've got someone like SS Rajamouli, I know we're going off on a tangent here, John, but Talapi Vijay is one of them as well, that I want to see out with India, and we are seeing them out with India. Obviously, these figures speak for themselves, but I think you're right. I think Triple R sort of had a knock-on effect.
I really do.
And I think that's why the likes of the box office over here are that little
opening
bit
the
more comfortable
about
doing the pre-sales this early, 6 weeks in advance.
And I think you see those records tumbling.
Yeah.
As big releases come out from the north, from the south, you just see them tumbling and tumbling and tumbling. because there is now an interest, and I want to see the TV taken off as well, because it allows us to actually fucking access it when we want to do our watch-alongs, as opposed to try to hunt through
But we will have
50 million services.
Yeah, I know. And
Just
try
put it
to
on
pair up
fucking
the
Netflix or
subtitles.
Prime.
Yeah.
Just put it on the main platforms.
don't
The
put it-
content's every bit as good as Korean content.
Just don't put it on TVF.
No, don't. Contagious, fucking viral, contagious.
Yeah.
What the fuck it is.
John, I was going to say something else there in terms of I mean Jawan and is that Jawan? Sorry, I'm never saying it wrong. Jawan and Leo, are these the two films that you will go and see in the cinema, you think?
I definitely think I'm going to go and see Joanne, Stephen. I think it looks interesting.
Yeah.
And I want to see Vijay Sethupathi playing a villain. I think he is playing a villain. Alongside Shah Rukh Khan, and also want to see the Telepathy cameo. And with Telepathy Vijay, you want to see what this guy's doing, man. It's been a while since we've actually watched a movie of his.
And are both films Anirudh musical?
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. It shows you again the growth, as I spoke about, of this young guy, a 32-year-old guy, I think, 31, 32 years of age. Very young for a composer. And his body of work already.
He looks about 20.
He does. He looks, well, Stephen, I says it the other day, didn't I? He's about a year younger than me. Us 30-somethings have to stick together. And when we're getting ID'd for beer, that's a good fucking sign. That shows that we're doing things right. So we'll stick together, Hanny Rod, right? You don't know me from Adam, mate. But
we'll stick together.
Stick together.
Sweet harmony. Yeah.
But they are growing. They're growing and growing and growing. And now we're seeing them becoming pan-Indian sort of composers, actors, everything.
It's fantastic.
And then the global audience, it's a fucking perfect time, a zeitgeist moment.
I like this. I like that little thing they've got on the top of the trending.
Little trending thing, yeah. It's like little tags.
I wish we could get that on our website. But
there's another way to do that.
It's good. I like that. It shows you what's
This is actually one of the best sort of Indian-related websites. Times of India.
Times of India, yeah.
The sort of setup, the orientation of the website, everything. It's great for capturing for this.
Very organised as well, isn't it?
Obviously, Times of India is a renowned organisation.
Yeah.
Anyway,
E-Times,
E-Times, better than the Times over here.
John, if you anything more to say before we move on?
Oh, just glad to see that Telepathy once again doing his thing, getting acclaim, making money, retaining his status as box office gold.
Yeah.
And as I said before, just reinforcing it, the guy is a brilliant human being. Does a lot for charity, a lot for just trying to make activism and political sort of issues more aware in the general population.
Yeah.
Waking their minds up to the corruption, waking their minds up to big issues, using his films as a conduit to show this to said population and make the world a better place. I think he's a great guy, and it couldn't happen to a better guy.
And without
this
being
success.
We always
he's
say
never
that,
preachy, no.
No. It's the way he sort of intertwines the story with some social messaging. It's never preachy. And it's,
the classic one was the water, wasn't it? The corporation.
Yeah.
The farmers. Ended up killing themselves.
Yeah.
That was the perfect example. He wasn't even in the fucking shot.
Yeah.
It was a separate thing, disconnected from his character.
Yeah.
But he got the point across. What's happening in the rural areas, how these corporations are abusing the little man, and most people are probably unaware of it. Yeah. And he's trying. Also, they were striking, weren't there? There was a big issue with farmers in India. Yeah. But he used his platform again.
This is situations that we're not aware of here. You know, in films like this, it might be over dramatised, I'm not sure, but they will always get that message across, even to a Western audience, and understand it.
Says it time and again, Stephen, I've got enormous respect for people who have made it in life, hugely successful financially, well off, don't have to do anything, can stay in their nice little sort of perch and look down as they farted again, my dog. But instead they come out the comfort zone and they use the platform for good. Respecting them, because they get nothing but the worst in people's bellies. Seen it with like the likes of Lewis, Seb Vettel. They get shit from people. They don't give a fuck. They use their platform for change, and I respect for that.
Yeah.
Because if I was them, I'd do the same thing.
Yeah, I think you've got to. I think there's a
moral
people. Obligation, isn't there? There really is, if you're that way inclined. But we're going to move on, John, anyway, to our next topic, our second topic of today. We're getting back to Star Wars. It's been a little while.
Not for me. I think I talk all the
time. With all the Ahsoka stuff going on, John, I know we've not talked about it, and I kind of want to save that.
We're going to review Ahsoka this season.
I think once we're done,
I'm enjoying it a lot.
Obviously, Ronnie Jordan came in and he was looking to see if we were still doing reactions and stuff like that. He explained the situation, John. But it just goes to show that people are looking out for us and they're looking out for those reactions. I think Andor had a lot to do with it as well. I think a lot of people liked her reactions, and I think, you know, it would have been nice to have done it, but I think it was just bad timing, obviously, on the channel's sort of strikes.
I think people usually respect honesty.
Yeah.
And authenticism, is that a word? Authentic reactions.
Yeah, I mean, I will say one thing
And
about
some people in the
Ahsoka. It
channel-
took me 2 episodes to get into it.
Yeah.
It really, but again, Andor was about 4 episodes before I got into it. That was a very slow burn, but more episodes. I don't know how many episodes of Ahsoka there is, but the last 2 episodes have been fucking phenomenal.
Well, I've yet to see episode 5. As we
John, you need to watch it
and
tonight.
I'll be watching it
you'll
tonight.
love it, I'm telling you.
I was going to watch it last night.
Yeah.
I like to save it. I'm off tomorrow. I'm off for a nice cheeky wee 2 days now.
Good.
Which is a rare boost for me, so
Yeah.
I'll enjoy it tonight.
Yeah, but it's Lando we're talking about. It's
Yeah.
not Ahsoka. We will be talking about Ahsoka probably in a few weeks' time when we do a review, John. But yeah, Lando movie spin-off confirmed to be in the works. The idea right now is to do a movie. John, we've talked about this. We talked about it. I think we've been talking about it since Solo came out. Lando needs a movie. And then Lucasfilm started putting out good content on Disney Plus. Wait a minute. I prefer the series. I prefer web series. F the movies. Let's do web series. And that's the way our minds were set after the first season of The Mandalorian, and ever since, for all the Lucasfilm
Best
stuff coming
content
out.
from Disney relating to Star Wars has came in the form of TV.
So we changed our minds on the Lando project. Went, yeah, that would work as a web series. It would be better. Flesh out the character a little bit more, you know, and go at that pace. It would be fantastic. You can introduce that world that he's surrounded by, all these syndicates and stuff like that. Fascinating stuff. And you can really get a good stellar cast. I would imagine, I don't know when it would be set, but if it was maybe set before Solo, I think they could do it. I don't think it's too late. You could get Paul Bettany back, you know, who I thought was a great
What was his
addition.
name again?
No.
It was the Crimson Tide.
It was
Was the
the-
name
yeah,
of
the-
the organisation.
Yeah, the syndicate.
Forget his name.
Something Moss, something Dryden
Voss.
Voss, yeah.
Dryden Voss.
Yeah.
That's a
I
great
don't know how
guy.
I even remember that. But yeah.
I remember Kira.
Johnny-
I remember fucking
Kira, yeah.
L fucking II7.
I know how you
Elf-
remember Kira.
Elfrey. Yeah, because she was better looking back then. Sadly, she's lost weight. What are you doing? Come on, I spoke about that the other day. Don't get why women do that at times. They try to lose so much weight. Fucking Emma Watson's another one. Lost a ton of weight. She was never particularly chunky to begin with, but she's just aging herself. It's just wrong.
Yeah.
Stop
It's
it.
just the pressures. And that's
Stop it.
But stop it right now.
Stop it.
Yeah, in the words of Partridge. John,
No one likes a lollipop.
this was previously announced as a Lando TV series, but it may be turned into a movie. This was we did watch this video clip. It was on Pablo Torre Finds Out Twitter account,
We did.
account, and it was obviously from the YouTube
It was Steve
channel.
Glover, yeah.
And
Steve G.
they
Glover.
said it's not supposed to be a show; it's a movie. So, I mean, I've got mixed feelings about this. I want to see Lando. I want to see.
There you go, update.
I want to
14th
Yeah, I
of
want
September.
from Lucasfilm.
Yesterday, it's confirmed it is now a movie.
Yeah, so it's confirmed officially. I'm saddened by that. I've got to be honest. I thought I want to see Donald Glover. I want to see
Depends,
Lando,
doesn't it?
but I don't think a movie's enough. I just don't think it's enough.
It depends, Stephen, on the story they've got.
I mean,
Because
you can do
initially-
multiple films, I suppose, but
Yeah.
I just felt they've moved away from these a Star Wars story type films.
But they did the opposite with Obi-Wan. Initially, it was meant to be James Mangold coming in and directing an Obi-Wan movie.
A Boba Fett one as well.
Boba Fett as well. I think that may have been Mangold, actually. I don't know who was in to direct the Obi-Wan film, but it was one of them anyway. And then they realised there was probably too much story to be told. They couldn't do it justice in a 2.5 hour film runtime. And then they changed it to a TV show. This may be the opposite with Lando. They've maybe initially been out with the idea of making a TV show, maybe connecting it to prior projects. Then they've realised early on in the development, maybe the script, that there's just not enough meat in the bones for what I want to
they've
tell.
changed writers as well, John.
Yeah.
I think it was Justin Simien was one of them, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And he was replaced. I think Donald and Stephen Glover were tapped as the new writers.
Well,
for
Donald
the
has
TV
been
series
involved
is,
with
yeah.
Atlanta.
Yeah.
I always want to say Atlanta. That's an
He's
Italian
a
team.
very talented lad, John.
Oh, he's great,
He's
Stephen.
not
I
just
love
a good
Donald.
singer. He's a good actor. He's a good writer
Stand-up
and
comedian.
producer. Yeah,
He fucking does everything.
yeah.
And he
talented.
wears some of the most incredible fucking
John
suits the world has seen that if I try to pull off,
what's his name?
I wouldn't.
I'm trying to remember the chap that played Han. Can't remember.
Alden Ehrenreich.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Great. I thought he did. I mean, there's a lot
It's
of
a
weight in
charisma
his
vacuum though,
shoulders,
wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
It just was.
it's a hard,
Dull.
it's a very hard act to follow Harrison Ford, and you should never do it. It's as simple as that.
I mean, Harrison's
they should have made a Lando film. I thought
They should have,
you know,
yeah.
and maybe brought in Han as a sort of.
I mean, Han had his story told in the
Supporting
original
cast.
trilogy, Stephen.
Yeah.
We got the
Yeah.
meat and bones of his story, and we spoke about this with Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah,
Should we have a Rocket Raccoon backstory? Baby Rocket or whatever the fuck it was. And it was your act. Fucking I forget what her name is. Director Lano or something. Lano,
yeah,
who did I Am Groot. And we says then some characters are best left with mystery
yeah.
surrounding their sort of origins, their background. They added more detail. I'm just watching my dog in case he lets one rip again because I just can't handle another incidence of flatulence. My
I
nose
thought they
can't handle
smelled
it.
bad
On the outside. Yeah,
This
that's
one
my
does.
dog. He does. He needs a fucking shower. And that's us 2.5 weeks deep. Coming up for 3 weeks. Origins, sometimes mystery is better for characters. We peeled back the sort of mystery with Han in that Solo movie, and it wasn't for the best. It wasn't
No.
for the better for that character. It's diluted it. Some of the things, the way he got his name, I'll call you Solo then.
Yeah,
Fucking
whole
hell.
family, yeah.
Terrible, man. Some characters, on the other hand, do require a backstory, and I think Lando's maybe
Yeah.
one of
I
them
think
because
the
he comes
meeting
in
of
halfway
Chewbacca
through.
was pretty good as well. The way they were sort of thrust upon each other.
Yeah.
And they ended up becoming
Yeah, he
best
saved
buds.
them,
Yeah.
didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was all right. There was elements of it that were okay, but just sometimes less is more.
Woody
but with
Harrelson
Lando,
was fantastic.
he
as
was.
well.
He was fucking
Yeah.
great. As the sort of he was a cry check, wasn't he?
It was like, do you know who he reminded me of?
Playing a good guy and a bad guy.
He reminded me of your Michael Rooker character from Guardians.
Yondu.
Yeah. Just, I don't know, similar vibes.
Yeah, he's sort of
You know?
military man,
Yeah.
hard edged, bit of a vagabond, a ruffian, but a maverick as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Possible to hate him too much.
Yeah.
Can't hate Woody Harrelson ever. The guy's just the king of cool. He's just always high as a kite, allegedly. I think it's open secret now, isn't it? Let's be honest, he doesn't hide it. And he's just a cool fucking cat. That's the word I like to use now, cat. I'm using that a lot. So yeah, I mean, there was elements of it at work, Stephen, but Lando, I agree with you. I think Lando should have been the movie with a younger hand coming in. Should have swapped the roles.
Yeah.
Because he came
At
in
the
halfway
time,
through the
yeah.
original trilogy, and we didn't get a huge amount of his backstory.
No.
He was hanging about with Lobot, this fucking android on, obviously, Bespin Cloud City. There was so much to tell with that character. You could delve into his backstory and not remove the
I always
mysticism.
wondered, how did he swindle that whole city?
Yeah.
Become the, what was it? I don't know what he's.
He was the god. What was he? He wasn't the coordinator. It was something.
Administrator, yeah, or
Yeah.
something of this facility. Yeah, I just wondered how he ended up in
Because
that
it was a
position.
mining facility, wasn't it? It was the gas they were mining out of the gas giant.
Yeah,
So yeah, look, he's a chancer of a character. And to be fair with Donald Glover, we spoke about him there briefly, Stephen. Hugely talented guy, writer,
yeah,
stand-up comedian, musician, singer, everything. But he was perfect for the character. We've seen it in Solo. He was one of the standout things. He brought that energy. Where I felt Alden Ehrenreich lacked charisma, he was a void of charisma. He was a bit dull. Donald Glover is never lacking in charisma. He's certainly not dull. He steals the show. Every time the guy appears on a screen, he is dynamite. You're drawn to him. And those suits were just the sort of costumes he had on, the uniforms,
yellow
outfits,
one,
whatever, were fucking outrageous.
yeah. Gold, I should say.
The gold one, yeah, with the cape. But it perfectly fitted into the Lando Calrissian character. He felt like a great continuation of Billy D. Williams.
Yeah,
Sort of, what do you call it? Portrayal of a character.
yeah,
So I think there is definitely scope to tell a story with Lando. There's definitely scope to have Donald Glover coming back and doing it justice. You can then argue over whether it should be a TV show or a movie. For me, I would lean more to TV because I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I think TV is the place for Star Wars now. I think the high caliber content that Disney have put out, aside from Rogue One, has been TV. Andor, Ahsoka now, The Mandalorian. To a degree, what was the other one that came out? There was another one, wasn't there? Book of Boba Fett. It was fucking. I liked the whole Tusken Raiders Sand People arc.
yeah, yeah.
I liked that humanised
Yeah, it was
2D cardboard characters from the
Yeah,
original
but it was
trilogy.
that kind of Arrow template, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Where you had the two sort of stories running parallel, the past and the present type thing.
He lost
on
himself. yeah. And he had to find himself again and come back. A better version. Is he better?
I don't know. I don't know where they'll take this. I don't know whether it'll be a prequel to Solo or if it'll be a continuation, afterwards. I'm not really sure what they'll do.
Well, I mean, Dryden Voss died, didn't he?
Yeah.
At the end of Solo. So if you're wanting more Paul Bettany, and Lord knows you can always do it anyway. You can do flashbacks.
Yeah.
You'd probably have to do a prequel. But I think his story could certainly start before the events of Solo and work its way right up to the original trilogy.
Well, I think
you can bring back those characters.
I don't think there'll be. Will there be much interaction with Han again? I don't know, because their meeting on Cloud City, I felt was like, they left in bad terms, and they certainly did at the end of Solo. Not bad terms, but obviously they weren't.
Swindled them, didn't they?
Swindled them, yeah. So I think it was a bit miffed with them, and I think just having that, meeting again on Cloud City
would make sense.
Was sort of like unfinished business. So I would like to perhaps maybe see Lando off doing his own thing without having those sort of ties.
No, I don't think they'll bring Alden back. I don't think Han will be back in this story,
I don't think
Stephen.
they want to come back.
They met for the first time in Solo.
Yeah.
And then, as you says, there was that big gap and they met again in Empire Strikes Back. So
you got a lot of nerve coming here after what you pulled. Yeah. I mean, and that's what they're referring to, obviously, from Solo, I would assume. Unless there was maybe another swindle. I doubt it, though.
No, it was definitely it was the Falcon.
I think that would sort of dilute the Lando character if he was swindled twice by the same guy.
Yeah, I know. He's not, I mean, I know he likes to call people a pirate and stuff like that, but you're right, he isn't a mug.
Yeah.
He's switched on handsome. He is.
Han was just one step ahead of him. That was the only difference.
For once. I think that was maybe the first time, to be fair, because he paid them back.
Yeah.
Got him frozen in carbonite and he got tortured and hung on a wall. So I think he definitely got his own back. I don't think he intended to, but he certainly got his own back. Stephen, I'm excited for it. I do love Donald. I think he's a fucking brilliant guy, cracking actor, and I'm looking forward to seeing his interpretation as a character. And there's definitely scope to tell a story, as I says. For me, I'm slightly disappointed it's changed to a movie.
Yeah,
I think TV's the better medium. It gives you the option to go back and bring back Dryden Voss. You can tie in Kira, you can tie in the Crimson Tide, you can tie in all of these different aspects of the story, and it's long form. You can do it over 2-3 seasons. It could be a mini set of seasons, 4, 5, 6 episodes, short, packs a punch, but it gives you that sort of luxury, a greater sandbox, whereas with a movie, it's one and done, and then you've got all of that pressure.
There is another reason that they might be just considering doing the movies through it's probably scheduling as well.
Yeah,
I think perhaps maybe the slate for Disney Plus and Star Wars content is probably, you're talking perhaps maybe another season maybe of Ahsoka. We already know we're getting season 2 of Andor coming through as well, and I suppose there'll be other things. I don't know.
Another issue, Stephen, is Bob Iger. Bob Iger came in for Bob Chapek, and he restructured the sort of company again. They were moving more to streaming, stepping away from the films. He's came in and he's maybe cracked the whip a few times, told them, look, this has to stop, you're diluting it, you're putting all of this on TV. We're not getting enough money back for this production because you've got a set amount of subscriptions every year, and by all accounts they actually dropped. Disney Plus's subscription base dropped, so you're limited to what you can actually gain box office wise, whereas with a film, if it hits, the word of mouth's great. You're looking at $1 billion.
Well, that's it
comes off.
Yeah, it pays itself, but
it also comes with the consequence of pressure.
Yeah, well, you
and that obviously
Solo,
impacts
box office failure.
Yeah, but that impacts on the director and the actual creative choices, because the studio interferes. It says we need this done, we need that done.
I always thought it was a strange one releasing Solo in the May of 2018.
It was
5 months after The Last Jedi. They must have known Episode 8 was going to be divisive. They must have, the early screens, they must have went, I don't think this is going to be everyone's cup of tea, and there could be possibly a backlash. It may be an idea to push back Solo till 12 months from now and release it in Christmas, because I think it's going to need that breathing space, because I honestly think Solo was a good film, and its box office failures was an effect of the previous film from 5 months previous, The Last Jedi. I don't mind The Last Jedi, I'll be honest with you, John. It's not... There's a lot of bad decisions made in it. But it's, in terms of the way the movie's made, technically, I like it. And there is moments in it I do like.
He did the best with what he had, to be fair, in retrospect.
Yeah.
When JJ comes in and shits in bed with Luke, pushes him to the side, leaves it to another director to deal with the problem, the issue of how do I fit this Titanic character in, but then also subsequently kills off one of the original three in his story, denying that same director the chance to bring them all back together. You're already starting in the back foot.
Yeah.
What do you do with this character? But then I would also say Ryan dropped the ball spectacularly with the intro, because it was this big important moment. First time I've ever seen a Star Wars movie end like that, where it's a cliffhanger. I mean, you could say Empire Strikes Back, they're looking out at the galaxy, but it felt finished. It felt like a contained.
You know, you could just jump a few weeks, months with Return of the Jedi. You couldn't do that with this.
No.
Because it was a personal moment. It was a moment that was left hanging.
I mean, you could have dealt with that then jumped, but...
Yeah. It's not in Star Wars nature to do that, though, is it?
Pushed him into a corner.
John, I remember people going off their nuts because they were doing the dream sequence in Revenge of the Sith with Anakin dreaming that Padme was dying, and people seeing the dream sequences were going off them. That's not Star Wars, that kind of thing. I went,
because you've not seen it?
Well,
doesn't
it's
make
a first for everything.
sense.
Well, I mean, I suppose...
I mean, Luke had that foreshadowing.
And the Dagobah scene where he hits the head of Vader off and it's him behind the mask.
I loved the dream sequences. That was some of the best stuff in that prequel trilogy.
Yeah.
One of the rare times you get to see Hayden properly unleashing that whole Tusken Raider Sand People thing. They're animals, so I killed them like animals, and not just the men, but the women and the children do. I hate them.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing. That scene when he goes down and just wrecks them. That's me. That's why ultimately, if I had force abilities and it was a thing, I would not be a Jedi. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah,
I would be a fucking Sith.
I'm just looking at this article here just to
I
see
like that line.
See if there's anything in there. But Glover.
Lando was charm incarnate. He's a kind of maverick, which I don't think there's a lot of anymore. It's hard to be the smooth talker nowadays. Where's the line? That's also where the danger is. How close can you get without tripping over it? And this is what they'll do right, Stephen. This is what Donald will get right. He just knows how to put... He in himself is charming and he is charismatic and he's a maverick. So he will know how to portray this character. Come what may, whatever story they've got to tell, I think Lando is an interesting enough character, and I think we've got the right pieces in play for it to be a success.
Yeah.
Movie or TV show. I can't see anything with Donald Glover in it failing. And we've seen what he can do with Lando, so I just can't see how it fails.
Yeah.
I think there's still an unhealthy interest in that time period as well. So,
well, I think there has to be, John. I think it's not like Marvel, where they've got decades worth of content they can use. They've got to sort of work their way from the inside out, and that's what they've got to do. And they will start to push out 30 years, 50 years out with the sort of, what do they call that? The Battle of Yavin. That's the sort of central point, isn't it? And they can use that before and after type thing. But I think eventually it will branch out. I mean, I think that's why they've not went back a millennia yet, and did anything, obviously, even with Palpatine as a young...
I don't know who it is that's doing it again.
Again, you have to have sort of Kevin Feige planning for these type of things to do it right, because once you commit, that's it.
What's your thoughts on
timelines are very important.
Story?
Taika's
He's
Star Wars.
admitted that he's still not got a script.
Yeah.
He was joking about it at the
I'll be honest
ceremony.
with you, I think this is going to fizzle out like the Rian Johnson trilogy.
Says the same.
Which is a shame, because I would have liked to have seen that. Much as I'd like to have seen
what, Steve, I don't think it's the right time for Taika though. Coming off the back of Love and Thunder, which wasn't great. I think the best thing for him is to stay away and do his own brand of movies, independent movies like your Jojo Rabbit's.
If he's going to stick to that tone, he has to do his own stuff.
Yeah.
Because you either get him or you don't get him. And if you're going into a sort of brand franchise like Marvel, you have to... There is rules you've got to stick to, and sometimes his humour doesn't come off as well in those films. The trouble is, if he fought again, that damages his career and his legacy. Yeah. And this is a guy... His IP, yeah. This is a guy that cares about things like that. Yeah. This is an Academy Award winner for writing. Yeah. So I don't think he is in any rush to dive into the clusterfuck that is Star Wars movies. I think Kathleen Kennedy was trying to position him as the next movie,
coming out, and he's like, nope, I'll wait to see what the other clown does before I then commit to doing that. Thank you very much. What's that? Writer's block? Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah.
He's actually got the full script sitting waiting, but he's just
the
not.
little roundhead guy.
Yeah, bring him back.
He's got a trilogy. They have only one film.
Was Patty not doing that Rogue Squadron film? Get her back in. I'll just wait and see how the fandom reacts to the next movie before I commit.
I just think there's that difference between film and web series at the minute that Star Wars are doing right and doing wrong. You know, they've made too many announcements over the past 4 or 5 years and nothing's came of these announcements, which is, it's a terrible way to run a business, you know, and I don't know why she's still there, Kathleen Kennedy. I really don't. I'm not anything personal against her or anything. I don't know her, but I just think she's did more misses than hits. And for a president of a film company to have more misses than hits says a lot about. You talk about Taika Waititi's reputation. If he has another flop, how many flops is she going to have?
I know.
How many letdowns is she going to have before?
How many projects is she going to announce in green light before and they disappear?
Yeah, I mean,
into
I'm not saying it's all
purgatory.
down to her, but she's the president. She's got to. She represents the company, so it's just been poor.
Well, I mean, Iger came in and apparently was raging.
Yeah,
he wasn't happy.
Yeah,
about the way they were dealing with just the brands in general. The quality was diminishing.
Yep.
And they were diluting things, and it was just mistake after mistake. And he came back to clean it up.
Yeah.
So hopefully he does it.
I just think they've got it right with the web series, and you've got. If I'm going to criticise Kathleen Kennedy for the films and the failures, I've got to commend her for the web series. I know Favreau and Filoni have got a lot to do with it, but she has got to greenlight as well. She's got to have her say. And up to now, I think the web series have been fine. Mandalorian season 3 was a bit. It was okay.
The high moments were great, but the low moments were poor.
And the same with Book of Boba Fett. There was good moments in there, like you talked about earlier, John, with the Sand People. I thought they were fantastic. I thought that story was great. But more hits than misses with the TV series. I think that's how they should have stuck that formula with Lando. But listen, I'll take whatever I can. Donald Glover coming back as Lando, I'll take it in any form. I just would have preferred it to be in the web series.
Stephen, at least they're leaving a gap though.
Yeah.
I mean, Star Wars has never been a franchise that releases a film every year.
Yeah.
It's every 3-4 years.
Well, it's still Rise of Skywalker. It's been the last film, isn't it?
Yeah.
From 2019. So
I think that's
nearly 4 years. 4 years this Christmas. And I'll tell you something, I'm not really missing it. I'll be honest with you. I think
the TV.
Yeah. You know, we came out of the cinema in Hamilton that night.
Yeah.
Or afternoon, I think it was.
Freezing.
I just felt whatever. That's the end of
it was the worst Star
Skywalker saga, as they call it, which I don't.
What's your name? Skywalker? No, it's not. You're a fucking Palpatine.
This is pish. Absolute pish.
That's not how names work.
But John, I went into it knowing it was going to be pish because I think
she is a Skywalker because he fucking manipulated midi-chlorians. Shmi was fucking... Basically, Anakin was Palpatine's son, so there's some twisted...
So Anakin was a Palpatine?
Pretty much, yeah. He didn't have a father figure because he couldn't say, it's me, I did it. So he just took on his mother's name. So in some weird, twisted way, the Skywalkers...
Despite the heavy hints, I need your help, son.
The whole thing was a fucking joke. It was a shambles.
Yeah.
Absolute joke. They were never Skywalkers. That's not how names work.
No,
you don't take your mother's name, you take your father's name.
We could be here all day talking about the whole J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson sort of...
That was fucking Lucas.
just cancelling out each other with the sequel trilogy, though, with each other's ideas, and it was never going to work. You get one director in, one clear vision, and it would have... It might not have been great, but it would have worked.
The biggest mistake they made was bringing JJ in to start it, because the man is a renowned shitebag when it comes to franchises. He'll reboot it, he'll do a decent job, and then he'll run for the fucking hills.
You talked about, obviously, John, the killing of Han Solo in that first movie as well, and I can just imagine him, sitting there thinking, I've got to outdo Vader, I've got to outdo the Emperor. What would be the worst thing that my villain could do? Kill his own father. I think that's what he was thinking. I really do believe that. I think everyone will hate this guy more than they hate Vader and the Emperor put together. No, it doesn't work like that, I'm afraid.
I actually liked him at the end.
Yeah, we were too detached, I think, from the original cast at that point as well, John, the way they were handled. And I think just not having them in the same film, it was just...
No, same
it just didn't work, It just didn't work. And it's funny because I remember when it was announced that the three were coming back, I was so excited and never really given it much thought of the consequence of that. Now we are. now we are, and I think even Mark Hamill's regretted signing up for it. But I think he felt the pressures of obviously Harrison Ford signing up. He knew he has to do it now because Harrison's doing it. I think it would have been easier for Mark Hamill to say no if Harrison said no. Well, Harrison's not coming back, so it wouldn't be right.
Losing weight.
Yeah.
To then be in the last 2 minutes. I bet he regrets that as well. I remember there's a famous photo of him.
Yeah, out the street, yeah.
For a bin.
Was that a film?
I think so.
I hope it was a film.
I think so.
Yeah.
But he was so
I like
overweight.
Mark. I do like Mark.
He was so overweight. He was eating burgers and everything. I think he actually put weight on for the role.
Yeah.
Because Mark was never a heavy guy.
I've always liked Mark Hamill. I've always liked him.
He was
I
never
thought he
heavy.
was always a funny guy.
Oh, well, I fucking
good taste
love
in
Mark.
music, and despite I'm not into American politics, but I kind of agree with a lot of things he says.
Definitely agree with Mark.
Yeah.
Not a fucking Republican, no chance. If I was American, I can tell you right now, I probably wouldn't vote, period, because the Democrats are absolute
You're never going to get an
bastards.
invite from Jeremy.
Give a fuck.
On his channel.
I don't care. Stephen, I'm above that tribalistic box. I don't take one side or the other. The whole political system's a fucking joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
It's amateur, John.
The whole
US,
thing,
yeah.
the concept of different choices, they're all the same. It's a fucking facade. You seriously tell me Hillary Clinton's any worse than Trump, or I don't know, Biden's any worse than George Bush? They're all the same. They're all fucking out to serve themselves, corrupt to the core, self-absorbed. It's bullshit. They're playing the masses.
Would you say the same about Mon Mothma and Palpatine? Then
No, thankfully the Star Wars universe has actual defined political sort of entities, and one is clearly
ideals,
evil, and the other one is definitely good. That's the way politics should work.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have any evil really, but that's just not realistic. We're humans. But in a good world, in a sort of utopia, you would have two great, maybe even 3-4 great choices. So if the two main parties aren't performing, you kick them both to fucking bring in the other people and see if they'll work.
Yeah.
That just doesn't work though, sadly. We've seen that. We've got the Lib Dems here and it doesn't work. And in Scotland, we've got one party, and I could make an argument that it's not working there either. Because there's a complete talent vacuum in Scottish politics. When you've got Hamza Youssef being the leader of a country, you know you're fucked. When you've got Douglas Ross being the opposition leader, you are truly fucked.
I think we're done here with Star Wars.
Yes.
We're going to move on to our final topic, John. We're going to talk about Bruce Lee biopic.
Second time I've referenced Douglas Ross in 2 streams.
I noticed, John, yeah. It's funny that every time you mention his name, I always think of the copper and Get Back.
Yeah.
I don't know
That's
why.
exactly. It's probably his fucking long-lost relative.
It's some vibes. But yeah.
Dweeb.
John, I don't know if you know about this. An upcoming new biopic on
It's
martial
been that
arts.
many, Stephen. I think there's
Legend
been about
Bruce
50.
Lee will revolve around the superstar's most iconic movie, says producer Lawrence Gray. This is obviously
That sounds interesting.
an
that would
Ang
be
Lee
fair.
upcoming Bruce Lee biopic revolves around the making of one of martial arts legend's most iconic films. He died tragically young at the age of 32.
That's mad.
But those years
Younger than me.
were all he needed to establish a cinematic legacy that has inspired multiple generations of performers and filmmakers. Now, thanks to the Oscar-winning director of Life of Pi, iconic martial arts performer Lee will finally receive the biopic treatment, with the director's own son Mason Lee taking on the lead role. The title of this upcoming biographical film has not been unveiled, but at least one other important detail of the film has now been revealed. They better not call it something with dragon in it. Speaking to Collider, producer Lawrence Gray spoke about working with director Lee to settle on a structure for the movie and said it was largely focused on a particular period of its subject's life, revolving mostly around the making of Lee's most iconic film, Enter the Dragon. And this is what Gray had to say. He said, "What we realised was that the time period of Bruce Lee's life around the making of Enter the Dragon was a moment where so many different thematic threads were connecting, and there was a confluence of an incredible amount of drama and conflict in his life. So we used that as a sort of an axis around which to revolve his world. From there, I think the director would say it's a kaleidoscope journey through his life. It has a traditional non-narrative structure, and it's really thematically and experimentally connected."
Traditional and non-narrative structure. That's really intriguing, that line.
John, I mean, this is the
Traditional and
period that I
non-narrative.
suppose where Bruce Lee's life came to the forefront and for the world.
Yeah, he shot into stardom.
we know that he made The Big Boss, Fist of Fury. These are obviously the European and UK titles. I know obviously they were titled differently in the US, but The Big Boss, Fist of Fury, Way of the Dragon. And then he was starting the film, obviously, The Game of Death, the one with the yellow jumpsuit, and then got the call from Warner Brothers, and I'm trying to remember the director's name of Enter the Dragon. The name escapes me at the moment, can't remember.
Find it in a moment. Robert Klaus.
Yeah.
Robert Klaus. How cool was Jim Kelly, by the way?
Yeah.
Cool was that guy?
He got the call to, come to Hollywood. We want to make this film. You, John Saxon, Jim Kelly, and the likes, and we're going to do this. It's going to be a big budgeted film. And they had to put The Game of Death on hold. Never returned to it, John.
Which is a shame.
Sadly, obviously, Bruce passed away a week before the film's world premiere. Never even got to see the success of the film, which is tragic. It always saddens me. Big Bruce Lee fan, both of us, John.
Yeah, he's an incredible guy.
Enter the Dragon, is, as much as it's not the most complex storyline. It's detective, martial art, sort of investigative, sort of investigating the death of his sister on this island, exposing Han and his tournament and what it all is. It's just a big charade to obviously hide his sort of drugs empire. I mean, it's not really rocket science, the storyline, John, but one thing it did have was a lot of charisma thanks to this man. His screen presence was fantastic. And I always wonder what would have became of Bruce Lee after Enter the Dragon and its success. But because all accounts, John, the film wasn't successful because of his death. It was going to be the first world sort of, I don't know what you'd call it, but most martial art films came out of Hong Kong or the Far East. This was going to be the first sort of Western martial arts film. Also had the concept of Kung Fu. This was the David Carradine TV series.
Oh, Stephen, I mentioned him all the time.
Carradine got the role.
Not for the best, I have to stress.
For obviously, there was racist reasons, let's be honest.
That still confuses me to this day, how a guy who was, by all accounts, I think he was like Irish or something.
Well,
Irish-American.
He was Caucasian, wasn't he? Yeah.
Playing a
wasn't he?
Chinese character.
David Carradine was in Kill Bill, wasn't he? Yeah.
He was Bill. Yeah, he was definitely, wasn't fucking, I tell you what, he wasn't Chinese. That's for damn sure. David Carradine.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was of Irish stock. He was from Los Angeles, first and foremost, but I'm pretty damn sure. We're not going to click on cause of death. Because that's something I speak about a lot.
I'll tell you something, Carradine, John, for all I thought he was great in Kill Bill.
He was a great actor, he was.
Yeah, good presence. That kind of old school Clint Eastwood style of presence on screen, and he certainly had that.
Was he fucking Irish? If I just made that Irish thing, primarily of Irish descent, there you go, I was right.
Yeah.
I know a lot about David Carradine, I have to stress. But yeah, I mean, where would it have taken the character after that if it was like a sort of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood thing where it didn't happen? The death, I think he'd have went on, Stephen, to even greater stardom. The guy's legacy.
Yeah.
I mean, he died at 32. What was it, 1973?
It's been 50 years, John.
50 years since he passed, and his legacy is still there. He's still on the lips of many, many people. And to me, he's still, maybe outside of Schwarzenegger, got the greatest physique of all time. I think in terms of sheer functionality, he's got the undisputed greatest physique.
Yeah.
I think the only guy in current day...
That's the best description, John. You just said functionality, because he adapted... He built himself for what he wanted to use his body as a tool, and he
studied greatly into which muscles were required, what they did.
Johnny had the
ahead
physique.
Of his time.
He had the physique of a guy 10 years younger than him.
Yeah, he was.
I think somebody
ahead.
said that. I think it was a doctor that said that. A physician said he had the physique of a man in his early 20s.
What was that famous? I read a famous article. It was an actress walking on the set of it may have been Enter the Dragon.
Yeah.
And she actually asked to touch his bicep, and he let her.
Yeah.
And she says it was like warm marble.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love that descriptive term, warm marble. Solid, rock solid, very little body fat. The only guy that comes close today is Conor McGregor, but he's juicing. He's juicing like fucking crazy. So he's not authentic. This guy never juiced in his life. No chance. He was just iconic. So he went on to strength, Steve, and he died so young.
Yeah.
And his legacy, he'd be one of the absolute fucking greatest martial artist actors. I think he was above that as well, let's be honest. He could have easily have been multi-genre. He was a brilliant actor. We know he was a dancer, wasn't he, before he went into acting?
Well, he was a child actor, and then he was a cha-cha champion.
It was crazy.
And then he went to America, did a few... He was on Batman, actually, on the old Adam West. He played Kato. I think it was a Green Hornet he was in, but it was a crossover with the Green Hornet and Batman in one series. And there's an interesting story that Burt Ward and Bruce Lee wouldn't back down on who was going to win between Kato and Robin. And Bruce Lee's like, I'm not fucking losing to Robin. So I think they came to an agreement where it was a tie.
And I completely agree with him. There's no way that man would ever lose to Robin. Have you seen Robin? He's a fucking gimp of a character. And he was right. I love the fact that even back then Robin was getting disrespected. Such a shite character. Pointless character. I mean, why do you even need him?
I think it was in a few TV series. I think one of them was The Streets of San Francisco or something like that.
Is that I was going to talk about that?
He was wearing the sort of red tracky bottoms.
Yeah.
And it was quite philosophical in some of the sort of lines that he was bringing across. And I thought, this guy's incredible. You know,
was that the one? I think it was, he penned treatments or scripts for an origin story, San Francisco thing.
Kung Fu, yeah.
Was it Kung Fu?
The Carradine
was
stuff,
that the Carradine one? But it was done really poorly, ultimately. And now we've actually got a remake. It's just dropped recently. We spoke about it years ago.
They're saying inspired by Bruce Lee's writing. So at least they've acknowledged that, you know, this started with him.
Justine, I don't know what he'd make of this concept of taking a biopic. I'd love to see a biopic. I feel we've seen many, but not of a high standard, I have to stress.
There was one about 4 or 5 years ago, wasn't there?
Yeah, it wasn't great.
I didn't like it.
I watched it and it was really poor.
Sort of biggest one that's came out over the last 30 years was Dragon, the Bruce Lee story with Jason Scott Lee. It covered most of his life, I think, from his teens right up to his death, and there was obviously the sort of hinting towards the family being cursed.
Yeah.
This sort of demon, and Brandon was, you know, obviously the little boy playing Brandon. The demon looked over at him as if, I'm coming for you next. And this film was actually before Brandon's death.
That's fucking wild. That is wild.
Yeah, you know, and
that's unnerving.
It's I mean, it was an okay film, but I just felt,
I've not seen that.
I always feel that certain people in this world just can't be portrayed. I always felt even Elvis as good as the film was, and as good as
fucking hell, Harley.
As good as I can't remember the chap's name now.
Austin Butler.
Austin Butler, fantastic actor. And I don't think anybody else could have done it any better. It still wasn't Elvis, and that's how I don't want to see a John Lennon biopic, because
very difficult.
They were talking about Ewan McGregor perhaps doing one about Lennon's last 5 years, and I was like, no, just don't do it, because there's no one like him, and Bruce Lee falls into that sort of category for me.
Here's the perpetrator, incidentally, for those watching.
There's just no one can live up to, you know, his charisma. No one can live up to his look. You can work out as best you can. You'll not look like this guy.
No.
This is a unique human being. And I just feel, I know obviously it's Angeli's son?
His son, I brought him up there,
Yeah, Mason, sorry.
It doesn't look a huge amount. I mean, you're never going to get an exact fucking copy of someone, as you said, Stephen. It's impossible, because we're all different. But it doesn't look too close in terms of actual, just like, fucking hair and everything. I don't...
I mean, they've tried to do a comparison there with Bruce Lee before he became a film star, but that's not the period they wanted to take.
No, I know. So I was going to get into that as well, Stephen. Really,
he was quite young.
He does, yeah.
I mean, Bruce Lee was young. He was only 32, but
I mean, he's actually, I think he's a year older than what Bruce was when he died.
He looks about 20. That boy. Yeah.
He's born in 1990.
By the way, Mason.
He was born 1990. He's a year younger than me. Let that sink in. First and foremost. But Steen, I don't know what to make it. Also, as you say, that was such a fucking huge moment in his life, the Enter the Dragon stuff, because it propelled him to stardom, but then he didn't get to see it.
No.
So when you're using that as the sort of the narrative for a biopic, it's right at the end of his life.
I mean, there was other things.
You're losing so much of his life.
Kind of reading books and stuff like that, sort of third-party stuff about perhaps maybe allegedly, you know, in these books, not my sayings, that, you know, there perhaps maybe have been a mistress somewhere in the background out with obviously marital relations. Well, I don't know. I mean, you just don't know. You know, obviously with these superstars, But I mean, I don't want to see a kitchen sink drama with Bruce Lee. I'm not interested in that. So what else can you do? You just got to repeat what's been done before. I get Dragon came out 30 years ago. I think it was 92, 93 it came out. And they actually approached Brandon to play the role. And he says, that'd be a bit weird. That's like kissing your own mother. That's a cool guy.
He's a lot taller as well, wasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, I think he took his mother's height and obviously his father's looks, but a cool guy as well. Who's, you know, I was shocked what happened to him as well when it happened. I remember when I found out what happened, because I loved Showdown in Little Tokyo. Obviously loved The Crow. I thought it was, and that was his moment as well. You know, he never got to see.
Again, it's almost like repeating. Yeah. So it's fucking wild.
Yeah. I don't know what they'll touch on. I don't know if they'll get into the philosophy of Bruce Lee in this one, or they'll go into sort of mythology.
I mean, he's such a rich life, Stephen. You know? Even before Enter the Dragon, he'd such a rich life, such a storied life, coming from. I think he was American. He had to go to China, didn't he? Because he was shunned.
I think his dad was an actor, so I think he travelled quite a bit.
But he was never
he was
really
born
accepted.
in America, yeah.
He was never accepted in Hollywood. They never really wanted to cast him.
He was American, yeah.
Which is fucking wild. So that's a great story to tell right away, and it's something that's pertinent to modern day. We've seen this with Ki Hai Kwan being outcasted for 20 odd years, comes back and wins an Academy Award.
Yeah.
So that's something even today that's happening to Asian actors. And he's not even Asian, he's of Asian descent. He was an American actor. I have to fucking stress, I don't even know if Ki Hai Kwan, incidentally, is an American actor of Asian descent. But needless to say, it's a story that's still resonating today.
I remember we reviewed Enter the Dragon. It was the day before we found out about Black Panther.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Blank on his name.
Chadwick Boseman.
Chadwick, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember actually.
Yeah, we did it on the Friday night, and then it was a Saturday morning we found out he passed away.
It's fucking wild.
I always remember that. It's, you know, just funny things like that. But I remember we did watch and we reviewed Enter the Dragon. It's a great film, John. One of my grand's favourites. She introduced me to Bruce Lee. And
do you think they'll read? Sorry, I'll let you go.
No, I was just going to say just everything about it, the components, the score, the music, that kind of funky sort of intro for Enter the Dragon. Fantastic. Good cast as well, John, with John Saxon in there and Jim Kelly, as I said.
Jim Kelly was cool as hell.
He just gave it a good sort of balance, you know, with the sort of three leading men. You had, I think, Anna Capri, I think her name was the sort of villainous lady in it, sort of right hand woman, and just I thought it was a good film. I thought it was well executed.
Anna Capri, yeah.
Bob Wall, he was the one with the bottles.
Just an interesting concept, Stephen, as well, and that's why I like him.
The
actual original concept for Game of Death.
Yeah.
But it was all these different fighting styles and different
sort
of characters he was encountering.
Yeah.
That's what Enter the Dragon was like. It was this tournament with all these different styles.
Yeah.
Meshing and seeing who would come out victorious.
One of the things I loved about
also with the criminality underneath.
They were all in uniform, white or yellow. I think it was yellow, sorry. I think they were all in yellow. Bruce Lee wore his own sort. I think it was like navy blue, similar to your Scotland top there, John. It was like kind of the
high
almost
collar.
Like a what do you call that collar? Like the sort of Beatles
I know what you're
Pierre
talking,
Cardin sort of collarless. That was sort of what it was like, you know. Obviously traditional Chinese robes, but just they try to make them dress like the rest, and they just gave the look to the sort of referee. I'm not wearing that. I'll wear what I want, you know. There
is some moments in it as well, though, that I always laugh at. The moment where I think he kicked somebody and about 15 people fall.
Yeah, that was
some not even touched.
Fight, yeah.
Fucking brilliant moments. But also the bottle smashing moment. That little guy just not backing down. Fucking epic. When he's forced to kill him, you can actually see how good an actor he is in that moment. The anguish in his face.
Yeah.
But he has to do it because the guy.
As well, I think he's responsible for his sister's death. So there was a bit of revenge, but remorse as well at the same time. And I think the best line in that film for me is during that sequence when Bob Wall hits the board, punches through it. And Bruce Lee's retort is, "Board, don't hit back." In other words, I'm going to smash you.
I'm going to fucking batter you, my man. He was such a fucking incredible figure, an incredible actor, incredible martial artist who's still resonating today, Stephen. I think it was actually a guy who some level of connection to Bruce Lee trained in Glasgow, wasn't there?
Yeah,
pretty sure there was.
Jeet Kune Do school, yeah.
And it's crazy that even the fucking shit kickers in Glasgow or getting trained in the ways of Bruce Lee 30, 40, 50 years later.
I mean, in my youth, John, I was wanting to learn Jeet Kune Do, but I think the classes were just far too dear.
It'd be a great thing to learn.
Very unique.
And Stephen, you talk about trailblazing. The guy was basically doing MMA.
Yeah, well, he created
50 fucking years ago.
He created his own martial art.
But it was mixed martial arts. It was taking all these different concepts.
Fist or whatever it's called,
He correctly realised or recognised that kung fu and things like that were too restrictive, and you had to take the best aspects and also rub people up.
Yeah. I mean,
so there's so much to tell.
Karate and Chinese boxing, and took all the best elements and
combined it into one. And it get Bo back
fluid,
though. And then he was teaching foreigners, obviously, and that get Bo back.
Yeah.
There's so much to tell with this guy's life.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm conflicted when you're saying we've got a biopic that will revolve around Enter the Dragon, because that takes place way later in his life, and there's so much story to tell this guy.
I think Ang. It's Ang Lee, isn't it?
Ang Lee, yeah.
I'm thinking Ang.
He's posted, God blue, Willie.
I think he's going for the more sort of scandalous approach, the sort of shock with obviously personal life and obviously death.
Yeah.
Which I suppose that's what the populace will probably want to see, sadly.
Hello, Matty boy, incidentally. Hello. You've come in late, Matty.
Yeah.
But better late than never.
But I bet Matty was a big Bruce Lee fan as well. Back in the day.
I don't know. Judging, I
think his brother was.
Yeah. His brother was in better shape than Matty. I think Matty will agree with that. Yeah. Yes, Francis was very much into Bruce Lee. He had the nunchucks, I think. He was picking chairs up with one hand. He was running with the sweatsuits on and shit like that. Yes, I know, yes, I was. I thought you were more into Colin Montgomery, judging on the looks of her.
Now on 20 minutes.
Now on 20 minutes. Fucking mad, isn't it? It's
that's like 40 minutes each topic. God, that's going to be a good clip.
It is, yeah. John, black belt. He was a black belt. Yeah, he was. And he's still, I don't know if he's got it now, to be fair. But he's,
But I want to see his Bales quiz, so
we'll crack onwards, shall we say.
Yeah, onwards and upwards.
But I'm looking forward to seeing another story getting told about Bruce Lee. The guy is, much like the Beatles, just hugely influential.
Yeah.
Part of pop culture. He seems to just, what's the word again? He ascends, is that the right word? I don't know. Sort of generational pop culture. He's there and he's always there as a figure.
I think as well, John, although I might not be as excited as I once was about seeing another Bruce Lee biopic, but one of the good things that will come out of this, it's a generation thing. A new generation will be introduced to this man, and that's all that counts, really.
You sent me a photo tonight of my niece with a New York City t-shirt on, John Lennon t-shirt on. And my first thought was, that's a new generation getting introduced to the Beatles again. She's well into the Beatles.
Yeah.
It's the same
she was
with
listening to New York City, the actual song as well. Liked it.
It's a great song.
Yeah.
So I always like to see new generations getting handed the baton.
Yeah.
And various different things culturally. So you're absolutely right, Bruce Lee. For those who are maybe not acquainted, if this can open the door for a new generation to get interested in the guy and his life and his ways, because he was a very wise man. The way that he preached life, even the marijuana, let's be honest, he was ahead of the curve with that as well. He's seen the medicinal benefits of that. So the guy was well ahead of the curve. So if that can open the door, then
practically invented those pads.
Yeah, the sort of like ab things.
Yeah.
Yeah, the shock things.
Yeah.
Guy was a fucking revolutionary.
Yeah.
Just the form and function thing. It was revolutionary. The guy was literally building muscles that people didn't know about.
Yeah.
I mean, I still don't know how he built those little rib muscles. Lord knows I tried. There's muscles on the ribs, and I've not seen anybody build them. Not even fucking Arnold was building that shit. Heavyweights carry on his self-white jogging. It was this heavyweights carrying on himself while jogging. Yeah. Francis, he's talking about. Yeah, he was a fucking madman. He still is a madman, to be fair. Digress. I'm going to round it up here. There's a little quiz I'm going to show Stefano here.
Yeah.
Before
bedtime.
Well, not be bedtime for me. My night's just starting. What's your thoughts on Vijay's Leo breaking a record for pre-sales in the United Kingdom? It's the first Indian movie, I believe, to open up to pre-sales prior to its release. 10,000 tickets sold, £100,000 earned for the movie. A good month out from it coming out. What's your thoughts on it? What's your thoughts on Leo and Telepathy Vijay? Share your thoughts then below about that movie, about this record, about him. anything you feel compelled to share can go down below in the comments section about that. About a Lando movie now, no longer a TV show, it's a movie. What's your thoughts on Star Wars, where it's at? Should we see a Lando Calrissian TV show? Should it be a movie? Finally, your thoughts on that Bruce Lee biopic. Anything you feel compelled to share can go down there. Like the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to get notifications straight to your eyeballs. Do the same thing over on Twitch, follow button, notifications button over there, like, and follow the podcast on Spotify Podcast. All it's left to be said is until the next time, me and Stephen are done. Thank you to McLaughlin, as we like to call him jokingly at times, for coming in and commenting right at the bitter end, and I am done. Pressed that wrong time there. I pressed
nod.
Till the next time we're done. Bye bye. Getting a little bit antsy with the finger there. Bye bye. Trigger happy indeed, Stephen.